Hey everybody, welcome to the Get Wealth podcast. I'm your host, Brennan Wiersma. Today I have the pleasure of talking with Dom Summers, real estate investor and finance expert. Excited to have you on the show today, man. Thanks for coming on.
No, thanks for having me.
So, where are you at right now? You said you're on the East Coast, yeah?
I'm in Philadelphia,
Okay. So
so I'm
you're
based out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
so your primary business is real estate investing, and is that your market that you spend the most time in?
Yeah, Philadelphia is the market I spend like 95% of my time in. I do sprinkle a little bit of Montgomery County in there, but not really too much. Um, I really do some wholesale, some hotels, and a little bit of flips here and there.
Okay, cool. So yeah, let's just start with kind of your journey. Did you always want to be a real estate investor? And when did that start for you?
Hold on, I do apologize.
Oh, no worries.
Yes, I actually just had a deal close, and my guy said, "Do you want to bring my check to me?" Pick up my
Oh,
check. I
nice.
I think I always did because my mom was in real estate. She was a real estate agent slash investor, more lives than an investor, but she was at it when the time it just like unbelievable. And at the time it was unbelievable that they was actually buying houses for maybe like $2,000, $3,000 at the sheriff's sale and going and renting them back out for like $400 or $500. So you can imagine the return on investment they was making. So I always grew up in a real estate family. My mom always kind of taught me uh, compound interest. She always made me read the Rich Dad Poor Dad book. So I didn't always know I was going to be like I always knew I was going to be in real estate because the most millionaires was made out of real estate, and but I just knew I was going to be a businessman at the end of the day after reading Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah, that's such a good book, and I feel like that book is the first one for a lot of people that sets them on the path of thinking about money differently. And I mean, I think that's really important, especially at a young age, which is so cool that you were able to kind of have that primacy to be able to carry over because when you're that age, that's kind of when you soak up the most information. So that's really cool. You were able to have that from your mom and
Yeah, I
be able
was
to grow your
in.
business that way.
Yeah, I was able to actually just like looking back, I was able to work on properties ever since I was a little kid. Work on properties, saw kind of ins and outs. My mom, she did a lot of projects for other people. Um, I think she got caught like just like every mainly all investors back in that day. A lot of them got caught up in the 2007, 8, 2007, and 2008 crash, and that's what happened to her. So, but I mean, we always kind of lived kind of frugally, so it wasn't really like it wasn't a big deal, but you can kind of tell that she the cash flow wasn't there as it used to be. So, but I always just love real estate, just the flexibility of that it gives you. You could be your own boss. It just real estate and a few other things I invest in now, crypto. It just is, it just allow you to be your own boss and make your own time.
So, what was your first experience or your first deal getting into the market?
Myself,
Yeah, yeah.
my first deal was I don't remember the actual address, but I know it was on Kinsley Street and Kinsley right off Kinsley and Frankfurt Avenue. I actually did that deal with me, my mom, and two other guys here in the city of Philadelphia. One guy named Lee, who I'm not too fond of, and the other guy, I can't remember his name. I think it was Josh. Um, it was just that deal. I think it was like a four-way wholesale split. It was kind of weird. My mom
Mm.
had got the property under contract, and she was like, "Hey, Dom, found me a buyer." Like I'm like, "How am I gonna find you a buyer?" She was like, just call people. Just call the newspaper ads and just call people that's for rent and anything like this, and see if they want to buy the property for. I think we had it on the contract at the time. I'm not mistaken, like 18,000 or 20,000, whatever. So I told the guy like 27. I told the guy 27, and he kind of like, no, I can't do it, but I can do 24, and I can close fast. Which I didn't know was he actually sold it to somebody, wholesale to somebody else, and the wholesaler that he sold it to actually sold it. So it was a total of 8 grand. We all made $2,000 a piece on it, but it took roughly about like 11 days to do. So I was just like, what? So I can really kind of still distinctly remember going to the closing. not knowing exactly where the title company was at. It was like far out. The deal was in Philadelphia, but the title company was all the way out like Bucks or Montgomery, Bucks County, and I was just like, I wasn't out Bucks County too recent around that time, so I was like, what in the hell? So it was kind of far out, but I can kind of still remember everything. Getting that check, going to Wells Fargo to cash it, and blowing it all. Could remember everything.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, that first deal is kind of like proof of function, whereas I mean, I haven't had one yet. That's where I'm at. Is I'm kind of busting my ass to get that, first
First deal.
even lead that seems like it's going to work out. But it's kind of, proof of function. It's real. You see the money, and then I can imagine that kind of sets you for the rest of them. Um, so would you
Kind
agree?
of. Say it again.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, kind of, sort of. I kind of back then I wasn't really. I knew I was supposed to reinvest in the business, but I didn't know how to market. So I kind of took it. Kind of took me. I got a deal. We did that deal. I closed another deal maybe a few months later, probably like a month or so later. But after that, it was a kind of a dry spell. It was a dry spell because I didn't know how to market effectively. So, we was on bandit signs and that was kind of working, but it wasn't working as much because at the time Philadelphia had the bandit sign police and they would just, as soon as you put them up there, take them down. So it was just, that was kind of discouraging. So I tried a lot of things, but I just ain't really, I wasn't trying to make it seem like it was so easy that soon I got that first deal that it was off to the races. I kind of knew what I was doing, but still had no clue to what I was doing. And sometimes I feel like now, you put yourself in certain things happen. You're like, what? So there's a lot of things that happen in this business. Like even though I've been in the business a long time, I think that happened when I was 20. That deal happened when I was like 22 or 23. I'm 32, so it's like 10 years in the business. So and so you learn a lot, but it wasn't all like peaches and roses. Some people make it seem like the gurus.
Yeah, so starting out, what do you think is the best way to find leads? Do you think it's just the free stuff, driving for dollars, knocking on doors? What would you say to get started?
Um, that would kind of all depends on somebody marketing budget, right?
Hmm.
Because anybody who got a different it all depends off your marketing budget. If you got a different marketing budget, I would ask, okay. Um, so it all depends on what is your marketing. I do apologize about that, but it
No
all
worries.
depends what's your marketing budget. So I just kind of just like that. It's just like it all depends what your marketing budget. Say if you low, I really drive them for dollars. They give you the best leads. Um, Driving for dollars, you the best leads, and also referrals. A lot of people don't really talk about it, but a lot of people got family members that got a property that wanted to be just sitting in the family. Just they didn't fix it up, or grandma gave it to them and stuff like that. So if you kind of can look into one of your family members and kind of say, hey, listen, you looking to sell that property that you've been holding on to. So I think that's like I sold a few of my family members' property that just got it from my cousins or and they've been sitting on it for 5 or 6 years. So I would just say the free stuff, uh, driving for dollars definitely work, but you gotta put in, you gotta definitely make sure you get 50, 60 houses per day. 5 or 6 houses is definitely not gonna work. I think a lot of people starting don't know the volume you actually got to do, and they gotta get frustrated. So it's just definitely it's a numbers game.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people that might be listening right now maybe might not know what driving for dollars is. So that's right. You're driving around your neighborhood, finding distressed or vacant properties, and you're creating a list to talk to them, right?
Mhm.
Is that kind of
Yes, and you can look for rent ads and stuff like that. I think a lot of people get carried away with the house. Of course, you want the house to have some distress, but it's really more about the seller if they're motivated. Because I mean, I bought turnkey properties that you wouldn't even think the seller would take a discount on them, and they took a huge discount on them. So I really think it's in the lines of just really the seller, and of course it's the property, but of course that's like one of the indicators. But most of the time it's really the seller. 'Cause it might be a seller that got a 20 unit package and they cash flowing really good, but they just they might want to get out because they might can sell it right now at a better number that they thought they can. And someone saying when sellers say they want market value. A lot of people kind of discredit them and just ask them, what is market value? I had the person tell me, oh yeah, I want a market value. And they told me the number they gave me was like 40% on a dollar. Everybody market value is different.
Yeah.
We know real market value. So, everybody market value is totally different. So I think, it's having conversations and kind of really figure out what's the issues you can solve, what problems you can solve for the seller.
Do you think that's a big part of closing deals, is being able to have that intelligent back and forth where you're kind of letting them tell you things first or negotiating on a higher level? Is that important?
I don't really talk when I'm on the phone.
Okay.
I of course I talk, but I'm really just not trying to like talk as much. Or I tell my guys, hey, listen, don't talk, like, shut up.
Mm-hmm.
Just
And
they
that's,
like so.
yeah.
If a seller want to go off and talk about they dog and they best friend, and okay, talk to them, have a conversation about it. Like, that's fine.
Yeah, because you're going to learn more that way.
Hey,
than
listen
you
them out.
could.
Maybe I had a seller literally give me the house for free, and I can get the HUD one and show you. Like, they
How'd you
literally
do
gave me
that?
a house for free. Solved the problem. She found out that her ex-husband who passed away, they had a rental property in Philadelphia, and the property they had in there was his mistress, and she didn't want to deal with it. And she tried to get a property to the city. The city said she didn't they didn't want to take a they didn't want to give it, they don't take properties with a loan on it and with a person inside. So I called. I said, first originally I was going to buy it for 18,000. And then she came and said, hey, listen, I just paid it off and everything like that, blah blah, because you got to deal with the squatter. So deal with the person. So lady was kind of crazy. But I was able to give her a couple dollars to move out, and I sold it for 38,000. So it just really solving people problems.
Wow.
She didn't want to deal with the house no more.
So
She
in
didn't
that,
really care she didn't care what it was worth. She just didn't want to deal with the house. And if you was there, she would have gave you the house.
so you ended up wholesaling that deal then?
Yeah, for 36,000. The house was messed up, and I didn't really like the neighborhood. Because I don't know. I just didn't really like the neighborhood. The neighborhood for me, I'm really selective with what neighborhoods I buy rentals in and I invest in, and that particular neighborhood is not what I like. I like really more. I really invest really 5 to 6, 7, 8 blocks away from gentrifying neighborhoods, more along the lines of where I can buy them a little bit way cheaper and get a great cash flow, and rather than buy at 125,000 dollars and only can rent out for maybe 12 to $1,500. That just kind of doesn't make no sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Is that your buy criteria for looking for rentals? You want them a little bit further away, maybe in not quite
You know,
as.
I buy in the hood. Like, I'm not going to just cut and dry. I buy in the hood. But I know my values. But then, like in the hood in Philadelphia, like everything is worth $100,000, right? So I say the hood. It's just like I use that frequently, low class areas, whatever. But I invest where I know. I mean, I grew up in these areas, so I've ever invested in these areas, and the cash flow that I can get, you can't get nowhere else. So I'm perfectly happy. Like, I got a deal right now. I'm going to lock up today or tomorrow, whenever the seller stop playing, and send me the information back. But I've been going back with him for forever, so I know he's not going to sell it to nobody else. I'm buying it for 40, and it's cash flowing. I think $750 a month.
Wow.
And I can actually raise that rent to like a thousand a month, with a $40,000 purchase. So I'm perfectly happy with that, and And then I'm also buying another property that I don't really want. I'm going to hotel that one. I'm buying it for 120, and it's worth around 200. So I'm gonna buy it for 120. It's a tenant inside. Get a tenant, maybe like $4 or $5,000 for them to leave, clean out the house, maybe paint it, and put it back on the market for around like 180, 190.
Nice. Sounds like a great deal. Um, Real quick, because this is something I've been hearing recently. I'm not quite sure the difference. What is the difference between wholesaling and wholetailing?
Wholesale is when you're really wholesale is really it's really a play on words, and it's a play on words, and also it's a have a little slight bit different. So like wholesale, where I will get a house under contract for $50,000, and I'll wholesale it for $70,000. I would not close on the property. I would just buy it, lock it up, and then sign that contract to another investor for a profit, and then that investor would use their funds to close on the property, and I would get paid at the table. Wholesaling is where when I'm selling to an investor, of course I'm leaving money on the table, but if I wholesale it into where that same property, I probably can sell it to an investor for maybe around like I can get it for 120. I probably can sell it to an investor for maybe 129, 130, 135 max, right? I make like $15,000, right? $10,000. Yeah, that's great. But if I use hard money, put very, very little down, maybe 5 to 10,000, maybe 5 grand down, I can buy the property for the same price, 120,000, and then put it back on the market since it's a seller market for maybe like 180, let's say maybe 180 on the low end, because things are selling for around like 200, 215 over there, maybe a little bit higher, and and then make the spread from there.
Got it. Okay. So in the second scenario, there's a double closing, right? You're buying the
No,
property and
yeah, it's
then
not a double closing. Is I'm buying it one, and I'm actually taking ownership of it for maybe
you
60,
would,
90 days, and
okay.
then I'm selling it to a retail buyer instead of selling it to a cash buyer. And if
Got it.
this retail buyer going to use a FHA loan, I really love conventional loans. So
Yeah. Cool. Uh, do you think that wholesaling is the best way to get started in real estate? Because there's not a barrier to entry other than the knowledge.
wholesaling, and also I think being a realtor, I think I think people and I think people, when I say people, I say investors, as in whole, everybody, right? If you're an investor and you're not actually a realtor, I think that, and you're actually doing, but if you're actively doing like marketing, if you're actually spending money on marketing and you're not a realtor, I think you're throwing a lot of money down the drain, simply because if you know the ratio, um 25 is 25 to 1, right? For every 25 offers you make, you're going to get one wholesale contract or one property that you want to buy for yourself, whatever that be. So it's 24 other people that you talk to that you built rapport with, and they liked it, you don't trust you, but you couldn't do the deal. So I think it would just behoove you just to have your license and to maybe just give it to another person or somebody on your team that can just handle all of them and just make the money from that. And and then that way you can learn the ins and outs about the other sides of real estate. So I would say I would encourage somebody to be both, not just a real estate investor, but maybe also an agent, or just have access to an agent to where you can shelter off leads, because you're going to lose a lot of money not being an agent, especially like right now in this market. You can put properties on the market, um because it's just arbitrage what we really do as a wholesaling. We really real estate arbitrage. We're simply it's like stocks. We getting it at a strike price and then we're selling it, right? We getting it at X and then we selling it. So it's just kind of like the same. You can kind of do the same thing with being an agent without being too technical with with net listings and a few other things, stuff like that. So I think it would, you can. I think it would be both. I would think don't just look at being a wholesaler. Just look at being an agent as well, because you might come across way more deals and you maybe get your capital up with that way.
And it seems like the direction of the wholesaling career, if you will, is going more towards being a real estate agent. Certain states are applying more regulation, making things more difficult. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, and I think agents, when you come to that, they're the most hypocritical critical people that I know, because like actually in Philadelphia, it's like you had to have a wholesale license to actually wholesale.
Hmm.
Of course, there's some ways around it, blah blah blah, blah cd, but you gotta have a license, right? So, but what I know for a fact, the biggest wholesalers is in my city are agents, are big agents. I'm not gonna say their name, I'm not gonna say that, but it's a lot of big agents in my city, really, really big agents that do a lot of volume in my city that are wholesalers. They just, they're agents though, but they wholesale a lot,
Hmm.
which you wouldn't know, but they wholesale.
Yeah. And the idea behind more regulation would be that you need to have someone who's a trained person in real estate to be marketing your property rather than someone who's not.
Um, be honest, I don't know. I think I think the regulation in my city was because they said wholesalers was kind of get. It was a couple just wholesalers like it's a lot. We do big deals, right? I'm not gonna say in line people don't do 50, $60,000 deals. Okay, yeah, it is. That's true. But it's a lot of deals that's kind of being done. That's also like three, $4,000 deals. But I think they kind of really more infatuated. There was a couple guys in out my city, and that they made a pretty good penny, off a couple deals. They got a lot for maybe 15,000 and sold it for 150,000. I think they made like $107,000. um, but these people was really tracking people down that didn't really know they even had access to access to the lot. They didn't even know they owned it. They didn't even know it was their grandpa lot, and they the rightful heir because this person and that person. They didn't even know. And a lot of these properties was going to sheriff's sale, and it was a whole heap of mess. So I don't know why. So
Yeah, it
I
kind of
I
sounds like
say
they're trying to stop people from getting taken advantage of.
yeah. So they can say stop and get taken advantage of. Yeah, you can say that. But the realtors stand on the same thing too. So it's just like.
Yeah.
So just like, but I think it just that case was kind of weird because it was a lawyer involved. So I think that was really why um it kind of it kind of got regulated in my city. And
Cool.
and it's just when one city do it, everybody's going to do it.
Hmm. Something that's just super interesting to me is the idea of creative financing. Not going and buying a house with either your traditional FHA or conventional mortgage, but being able to work with somebody and creating your own deal, structuring it in a way that's being able to solve someone's problem. Have you done some creative financing for your rentals or any of those sort of deals?
Yeah. Actually, I mean, I lost millions. Be honest, man. I
Oh
lost
no.
millions. Because I had 15 creative finance properties, and that one I probably had them like 30, 40,000 at that time, but it wasn't worth nothing. It was only worth like 50 at the time. But right now, if I just kind of let them go and sold them, but right now they'd probably be worth easy 100 and something a door, like wholesale.
Wow.
So, um, it just, that right there just solving somebody problem. It's solving somebody problem. It just sell it. That can be a lot of ways when you say creative. You can, mine. I did a subject to where I gave a guy a deposit. I gave him like maybe like 2 to 3 grand for each house, and I took over them, fixed them up a little bit, and rented them out. But I didn't really know about property management. That was really the main case. I didn't know about property management. I didn't know about screen tenants. I didn't know about none of that. So I was really throwing any and everybody in my any particular properties, and I wasn't really that great at being a landlord. And when you got that many properties, and I was wholesaling, but it was just too much. I'd rather just got out of it. But looking back now, if I look back now, I would just had a property management in place, and they would have took care of that. So um, creative financing is great. You just got to know how to use it right, and don't kind of bite off more than you can chew, because when you get in these deals, you definitely can kind of be paying at the top of the market. Just make sure I mean, you can be definitely paying top of the market prices. Just make sure it cash flows. So
Yeah,
just make
that's
sure it cash flows. So
yeah.
say somebody want to say, hey, listen, give me 2 grand down and take over my payment, but you're only gonna make $200 a month per month for cash flow. I wouldn't really take that particular house unless you have a real extra strategy, or maybe you're gonna probably gonna convert it to Airbnb, and you're gonna do a value add to it, something like that. But I think as if for a new investor, I wouldn't really recommend creative financing. I just that just wouldn't be for me.
Mm.
I wouldn't invest it because it's a lot of ins and outs. It's a lot of ins and out with creative financing. Like I said, I did a couple of subject to deals, but I'm not really an expert to talk about it. But I did some, but I haven't did any. Well, I don't want to lie. I just did a subject to deal recently, to where I got it from a wholesaler though, so I didn't do the deal with the wholesaler. It was middle of the pandemic. The wholesaler reached out to me and he said, "Dom, I got this deal. $92,000 left on the loan. Uh, they actually got it for nothing down, she didn't really know what to do with it. So she said, "Damn, give me $5,000 down, you can have it." The house ended up being worth $250,000 after I paid like 60 to $70,000 into it. So I bought it for $5,000 down, took over the payments, which was like 80,000, 870 or 873 a month. Took over the payments for 5 months, put $60,000 into the house. So I was all in the house, saved round off 170. Then I turned around, sold it for 250,000. But that was like a sub two deal, but that wasn't like a sub two deal that I kept, because as you know, they can call it due on sell clause. So, and that's another thing. A lot of gurus say they won't call it, but that is a possibility that you can run to.
Yeah, that's the scary thing with sub two is if that happens, and also it's probably more difficult, right? Because usually you have to find someone who's in pain for some reason and needs to give you the payment or the deed of the property, and then the liability still falls on them, right?
I mean, I'm really not paying. I think they're solving problems.
Yeah.
Um, you can say pain, but it's really like, just because you won't do it, that don't mean necessarily everybody won't. So
Hmm.
I think that's what a lot of people kind of get stuck in their head. But just really like, be honest, man. Some people might have two houses, they just really don't want it. Um, it can be a lot of things to why, it's really they credit. People rather just say, okay, listen, it's a little bit harder now because it's a hot sellers market. People know they can sell their houses, but it's a lot of people still kind of over leverage. So you can still find some great deals that can kind of cash flow. So this is all
Yeah.
depends. You might just find somebody say, hey, I might want this 10. I might just want this 10, 20 grand down because I'm going to make a little bit of extra money on the payment. So everybody's different at how everybody looks at it. Um, you know, some people believe, a lot of people believe in compound interest. This all depends how you look at it. I mean, I'll do a seller finance on one of my deals. It just all depends if somebody going to come with the right down payment and what it is. So
Yeah. So seller finance seems much more appealing to me because they own it free and clear, and there's not that due on sale clause that can get you, and you can negotiate like extremely good terms, but you're able to come up to a higher price. That seems much more appealing to me than the subject too. But yeah.
yeah, I mean, then you have a problem. Like I'm actually, thanks for reminding me. I got to call Melvin, because Melvin actually got a subject. I mean, not a subject to a seller finance that he did himself. Same scenario. He let the guy buy the property for $60,000. The guy paid like 7 8 months and then stopped paying. Then the pandemic happened. I don't know. It was like, no, he stopped paying him maybe like a year before the pandemic happened, I believe. So then the pandemic happened. Now he's trying to sell me this particular note for what, that's what, because when the seller financial, they actually take a note against the property and become the mortgage. So
Mhm.
he actually trying to sell me that particular note for 35,000, but the house is actually worth maybe like 160 now, just because like what's everything going on. So I'm actually going to try to buy for 35, instantly have $25,000 plus late payments and everything like that. So I probably can get it around, because even I've been paying for a while now. So I probably can get like really a lot of late payments, a lot of interest. I probably can, being nice, I can boost it up to 75,000 dollars, just being nice because off the late payments and stuff like that. Um, and make a spread there, or just go there and say, hey, listen, I give you $5,000 $10,000 for you to sell. I mean, for you to leave, or help him sell the property for maybe 160, and then collect the fee. So
Nice. Yeah, I mean, and just the name creative finance, like that's what that is. There's so many different ways that you can solve problems, and that's kind of the appealing part to me is that there's not just one right answer. Some people, the situation they're in might require this, or the next one, exactly the same deal, just a different problem, could be a completely different thing. So that's kind of cool to me.
totally, totally true. I mean, I think that's what everything. I think that's what every deal. I think that's what every real estate deal. Just different things. So I think, especially if once you keep constantly doing them, you're gonna kind of figure out like, hey, listen, we did this before, but this wasn't the issue. It was actually, this was the issue, and this was the issue. So we gotta bunker down and figure out what was the actual problem. So
Yeah. And I don't know if this is true. I heard it on a podcast recently, but something like 50% of Americans own their house free and clear. Like, that seems
I
ridiculous.
never did a stat, but a lot of you'd be astonished at how many people actually do own a house free and clear. I didn't do that in a very, very long time. Because a lot of people I do work with do have mortgages and stuff like that. So um I don't know, man. I think it's just like I don't know. I think it's a deal. I think it's a I don't know how to put it, man. It's like I don't look into them numbers because I look at the people problems, because when you
Yeah.
figure out you can solve a person problem, I think you can get a deal. Now it doesn't make a difference if it's a $2 million deal or a $20,000 deal. As long as you solve problems, you will get paid.
Yeah. And that kind of leads into my next question. Just as far as being a real estate investor, you've already talked a lot about solving people's problems. And I think, I mean, yeah, it is profitable to invest in real estate and to have your own business. But as a byproduct of that, a lot of times what happens is you're improving neighborhoods, you're helping people in bad situations, and there's that whole side of it. Have you found, as far as like fix and flips, has that been the case for you? Have you been able to, has there been some sort of reward on that end of things for you?
Um, to be honest, I like fix and flip. I don't really like it that much, but I do like it just because um this the feeling I get, of course, is about the community, but when you kind of really understand how much money is actually created when a house sells, you would be really astonished. Far as when a house sells, title companies got to get paid, the city got to get paid. You got the contractors. I mean, you got electricians, you got plumbers, you got roofers, you got the people that do windows, you got the painters, you got the floor guys, you got the drywall guys, you got the realtors getting paid. I mean, the brokers getting paid. I mean, the assistant getting paid. You got the people that's going to do the gardening that's getting paid. You're actually really, really, really helping the community out in a big way by doing this by doing this one thing. So that really, like, when I really kind of realize how much really that affect. And you got to think about it, when a new person come in, and that new person come to in the city, they're going when that new person comes into that house, they're going to start ordering. They might order pizza. They're going to give it to the community. They're going to go to the dollar store around the neighborhood. They're going to go to the every. You know what I'm saying? So you're basically creating a lot of little you helping the economy grow. So it's definitely rewarding.
Yeah, dude, that's so cool, especially when you put it that way. Like, I mean, even yeah, like you take a distressed property and make it look nice, but then there's all that where you're just putting money in all these different people's pocket. So that's a good way to look at it. How much of your business is fix and flip compared to wholesale or rentals?
It's kind of like a up in the air, kind of like a mix of both. Like I really don't have a like a scenario of it. This is like, it all depends like how I look at the deal, and if I like it, if I do want to flip it. It all depends on my cash position at the time. Do I want to take things down? Because I had like maybe like 3 or 4 flips going on at one time, and I really didn't like that too much. It's a little bit more stress, but I was about to do it again. I'm gonna probably have 5 going on at one time, because you learn some things and you're just gonna go at it. So even though I just said I didn't want to do it again, I'm still gonna do it, just because the margins in the deal and the market is so hot. So I'm really not doing as much wholesaling as I used to, just because I can just buy it, take it down, and just put it back on the market, and I know it's gonna sell. So I kind of look at that like, hey, listen, if I can make $10,000, if I can make $10,000 wholesaling it, or I can do a hotel and make $30,000, I'd rather do the hotel, and just easier the way I got it now. I don't my realtors handle what they need to handle. Once I get it, I mean, once it's under contract, they're gonna make sure everything happens. So I'm really like kind of not hands off. I still talk to sellers and stuff like that, but I'm not. I can't really give you a number on that, because
Yeah,
it's how I feel at that time. You know.
for sure. That makes sense. I mean, yeah, there's not an exact way to run a real estate business. It's kind of case by case and day by day, which is part of the fun, it seems like, of doing it. Um,
I I mean, and it's like this, right? I might say if I get a package of 10 houses, I might want to keep all of them. they don't really make me a buy and hold investor. But I might get a 10 package of 10 and just want to wholesale all of them because they're all too messed up. So just like I kind of just you know I kind of just let the wind blow. Hold on one second. I apologize.
No worries.
What's up, Leon? Yeah, and it got the Durango and the Impala. All right, I'm gonna come outside. Give me 2 seconds. Mm. So um so it's just like that. I don't I just kind of I'm doing more rentals now because I just I'm doing more. I'm going to buy more rentals now just because I'm just did like a few flips. So now I got like I'm normally going to have a big tax bill with IRS. So I'm going to buy a couple of rentals just to offset a few things. So
Mm,
I'm going to probably do that, but probably going to buy a little bit more rentals just because of that. But this is all depends how that deal works. Like this is really all depends how the deal works. The 40K like the 40K deal. Like I just knew that from the deal. Like all right, I'm keeping that. All right, cool. But I might get somebody to say, "Hey, Dom, I give you 60 grand," but I might just, just because of the overall cash flow, I keep that. So it all depends. It all depends how the deal works. If really no, I might go 3 4 months just flipping everything. So it just all depends how everything works. I'm
yeah.
really
I interviewed Joshua Steinberg. I don't know if you know him. I saw he follows you. But he's a
Joshua Steinberg. Where he's from?
uh, Cleveland, I think, Ohio.
Joshua Steinberg. Joshua Steinberg.
He owns Next Gen Restoration and a couple other businesses.
I probably do know him. I probably got to see his face.
He's got a green Lamborghini. But anyway, something he was telling me about with I think it's called advanced depreciation. I might have mixed that
I
term
know
up.
exactly who you're talking about now. Yep.
Oh, really? That was the term? Did that click?
Yep. No, exactly what you're talking about. Advanced Depreciation. He owns like 60 doors. Am I correct?
It's 2,500 or maybe more. No, 1,500.
Ah,
A lot of doors.
oh, I know you're talking about. I know you're talking about. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
it's above 1,000 for sure. But anyways, yeah, he was saying that he'll take up one property and accelerate all the depreciation to write off a lot of taxes. I think that's kind of his strategy. I might have mixed that up a little bit, but like you can do it over 27 and a half years and write off a certain amount, or you can take all of it and put it into 1 year, which seems like an interesting strategy because, like you were saying, if you flip a lot of deals and you end up having this big tax bill, or you could buy a
Yeah.
jet.
Yeah. Or you can try to go buy a Tesla under your Tesla X under your LLC name. It's a lot of ways you can do it. I think once you really come, like, I don't think nobody actually tell you what is like nobody tell you like when you come in real estate, if really you're not an investor no more. You're not. You're not an investor. When you start making money, you're more like you got to figure out what to do with the money now. You got to figure out how can you pay less little as taxes as possible, and it's just like, so it's just like it's a whole different thing, and that's a lot of things that when I first learned, I didn't know about financial. I didn't really have that much financial literacy, and that's why like a lot of the things I do now, just because I learned and be around older people, and kind of they paid a lot of money in taxes, and like, hey, listen, that's cool. You can flip all you want, but your tax bill gonna be high. All right, cool. Start keeping some rentals, and that's what a lot of my older guys they kind of stress to me all the time. Like, I don't even want to buy this house off you. Um, keep it as a rental. So I'm doing right now on Colgate Street. I want to keep it as a rental, but the market's so hot, man. I want that. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I want to sell. So
Um, what do you think is the biggest thing holding people back from starting a real estate business if they want to, or the people that fail at it?
I don't think people actually. I don't. What is failure, right? I don't think people actually fail. I just think people don't understand that you're not really in the real estate marketing business. You're not in the real estate business. You're in the marketing and sales business. And once you know how to do wholesaling or anything like that, start worrying about, okay, now how do I effectively market and how do I effectively talk to people on the phone so I can so I can buy the best property at the best the best looking house. I mean, or the best house at the best price, right? So that's what people really need to worry about. I think it's all about marketing and sales, and I really kind of understand that and learned that marketing and sales is definitely one of the. It's the only thing that marketing and sales. Once you learn marketing and sales, you can transfer that into any business and do very well. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, so
Learn
people
marketing
focus
and
there.
sales.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that's your key. If your key thing is just marketing, knowing how to market and how to find sellers, and number one, and number two, learning how to sell and being able to talk effectively talk on the phone, and build rapport with the seller, you're going to close deals. I think everything else is doesn't really matter if you know how to wholesale, if you know how to do all these strategies, but you don't know how to get a seller to call you, you don't know how to talk on the phone. What is you know all that's good to know. I know people that that just want to learn this strategy, that strategy, this strategy, but you know, put some marketing out there, get your ass on the phone.
Yeah, I
That's it.
just heard someone talking about that. Pace Morby. I was watching one of his videos, and he's just said the exact same thing. He said everyone's always worried about this technical stuff, learning about this, when no one's doing what really matters, which is getting on the
Get on the
phone and
phone.
calling people and doing the marketing, which is that's
Yeah,
where it starts.
yeah. I hate when people say, "Oh, I got to get the LLC first." Don't. If you're going to DM me for questions, don't say you need to get the LLC first. I'll probably write you. I'm not gonna write you back. I'm really just honest because if you're telling me that you don't have no money now, you're broke, if somebody sue you, what are you going to lose?
Yeah, you don't need an LLC then.
You don't need no. There's nothing to protect to have an LLC. Get your ass on the phone, make some phone calls, get a deal. Then they make that deal pay for the LLC. So I think people just they want to buy LLC they said $300 to $500. They want to get all this and all that, and then they want to do all this and say I spent all this money. But you listen, you haven't talked to no sellers. You never did none of that. You did everything, spent all this money, but didn't talk to no sellers. You didn't
well,
talk to
talking
no
on the
sellers.
phone kind of sucks sometimes. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm trying to just call five people a day and make five offers a day, and I'm going door knocking. But a lot of times I sound like an idiot because I'm not very good at it yet, and that just seems like an uphill battle. But I mean, that's kind of right. I mean, that's where to start, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's record your phone calls.
Record. Okay, so you can
Only way
see
you
how you
can get
did.
better if you know what you're saying and you know what you're doing.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So if you don't know what you're saying, you don't know what you're doing, and you can't. How can you train yourself? Got to practice. You got to look at it and find one salesperson that you like and just follow their methods. You know, but if
Okay.
you listen to yourself on the phone, you're like, oh shit, why the hell did I say that? So listen to yourself on the phone.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I do this podcast is so I can learn from people like you that know what they're talking about, and then just residually being able to listen. That kind of I learn more that way, and then also just getting reps on the phone. So when I'm making offers, it's half of it is just practice for me, but recording it that's a double effect because then you can go back and look at. Do you do that, or have you done that with just like the recording button on your phone, or how do you do record your calls?
I use I got a phone software called Smartphone.io, and it records all the phone calls. So if I make a phone call from here, from my computer, it just records everything, and it records all my team phone calls. So you're able to go back and just listen to the whole conversation and kind of see, hey, listen, you fucked up here, you fucked up there, you shouldn't did this, you shouldn't have did that.
Dang. Do you have any tips on talking on the phone that someone might be able to take from this? Like, is there a certain problem that people always make, or
We got two ears, one mouth. Shut up. Just hey, listen. Um, talk to the person. Hey, listen. Do you think? Can you tell me some details about the property? And they're gonna talk like, oh, that's interesting.
and
Was
then
the
that,
app updated recently? What was it? What was updated recently? You just want to ask questions. That's all you're gonna do. You're just gonna ask questions. They're gonna answer. Like, okay, wow,
yeah.
wow, it's amazing. How did you? I'm very curious. How did you buy this property? Very curious. Be interested. How did they buy it? You might got to, just. Oh, I got it this way. I got it that way. La la. Oh, okay. Your grandma left it to you. Oh, okay. Oh, that's fine. What do you think the property's worth? I'm not sure. This property. I don't know. Just talk. As long as they talking more than you talking, you're perfectly fine.
Dang man, I want to sell you my house right now. No, but yeah,
I mean,
that
it's
makes.
just like you want to just talk to them,
Mhm.
just have a conversation. That's all. Be generally interested in what they're saying, and just because they say they don't want to take your offer today, time and circumstances change.
For sure. All right, thanks. Do you think, or I'm sorry. Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you, where do you think the real estate market's headed? Because it seems so hot right now. Everything's flying off the shelf and everything's expensive. Do you see a crash coming, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think it had to be. I think it got to be a correction. It got to be a crash. Have people want to say it, correction, crash, whatever. It got to be something. We just don't know when. We just don't, I don't. We got prediction. Man, people got predictions, but just I mean, I don't know. I mean, it can be this summer. It can be. I really don't know. But it's going to happen. It's just. I know a lot of people, a lot of my guys is really, really more seasoned, 20, 30 years in the game are definitely selling everything, getting cash heavy. So 'cause we got a lot of stuff that's going to hit, a lot of stuff's going to hit the market and open a couple things up. So it might be time to, just get cash heavy and get cash heavy. And so when the market crash, you can buy. So
Hmm.
you,
Yeah.
you just never know, but it's always going to be opportunity. But it's like, but it's always going to be opportunity to buy, sell. Like that's just how the market is. So you just gotta, that's just how that should go.
You just gotta
It's
play the
always going to
game.
be the time to, yeah, you just gotta play the game. That's it. If it do a Jurassic crash in 2000, 2007, 2007, 2008, well, a couple people gonna get caught with their pants. And just hopefully you're just not buying you're not buying at 80 cents on a dollar. You know,
Hmm.
I can my last deal, right? Like the deal I got right now, my last couple deals, it doesn't really like my margin just. I got a house. I'm all in at $85,000. I'm selling it for 203,000. If the market tanks 20%, I don't care.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm making sure I buy right, and I think that's the first thing in real estate. You make money when you buy, not when you sell. So I'm making sure I buy right, and so I don't get caught up in that. So I'm not really worrying about what's the inflated prices and everything like that. And I'm still going off. Okay, this house was only worth 150, 160 pre-pandemic. Now it's worth pre-COVID. Now it's worth 200 to something like that. All right, cool. But I'm still going to buy numbers based off who was before COVID. I might don't buy as many deals as everybody else, but hey, if anything switches and everything, if the interest rate go up and people stop buying as much, a lot of people want to be fucking hurt. And where I'm going to be like, hey, listen, I was already buying at these pre-COVID numbers. So
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, that's a good way to make sure you're not getting in a pinch. Um, yeah, because I mean, I wasn't old enough to understand what 2008 was doing to the market, but it seems
I'm
like
not neighbor.
a lot of people at that time got their start in real estate because they're of the opportunity that it created, right? Because
Yeah,
there's all these on sale.
yeah, you got to think about it. You got stuff that's I know people that were selling houses for $250,000 and then buying them back 3 years later for 50.
Yeah, that's wild.
You see
All
what I'm
right.
saying? And then it's
Yeah.
like it's even better when you know who did the product.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure. I don't want to take too much of your time. A couple questions
what?
always like to ask is what are some good books that you recommend
Uh,
investing in general?
I love traction, what is it right here? The compound effect. Uh, business. The Musician versus the Mule by Mark Evans DM. I think that's a good book. Uh, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Um, it's one. I say a sales book by what is that guy named? The Wolf of Wall Street.
Jordan Belfort.
Jordan Belfort. His book, The Way of the Wolf, I think it's called. That's a great book too. For as far
Okay,
as like sales, I understand it and how to what you call. It's a great book. His whole his whole system on sales is great. Now that he's using it for something good, right? And so his whole system on sales is great. So I would say that. I would say,
awesome,
like I said, definitely when it comes to business, definitely just worry about sales and marketing.
for sure. Alrighty, noted. And then lastly, because this is the Get Wealth podcast, I always ask what your definition of wealth is.
Hold on one second. My definition of wealth is basically doing, basically having the money every month that's gonna come in regardless, and you can do whatever you want, right? And it's that number is different for everybody. Some people want $100,000 a month. Some people satisfied with $10,000 a month. Some people want $1 million a month, right? It all depends what that number is for you. Whatever number is that you can wake up every day and you kind of know that, you know, let me rephrase. That's a freedom number. Wealth to me is knowing that the moves I'm making now is going to make sure that my grandkids is going to be okay. That's like wealth, knowing that you, knowing that hold on, no, this is setting up your grandkids and setting up your kids and your grandkids for success, and just giving them a legacy they can come on to. As far as if it's they're going to inherit $100,000, 100 units or whatever, 100 units of property that they can constantly they can run and they can run and it's going to cash flow. One of my good friends, Howard, I'm not going to put his last name out there, nothing like that, but his family, his dad, it started from his granddad. His granddad left his dad a lot of units. Now they're basically taking over and they got like 400 or 500 units, and a lot of it is free and clear. So you can imagine 400 or 500 units, free and clear, some commercial, and then 100, some commercial and a lot of residential, but they got a lot of apartment buildings and stuff like that. And average rent is $1,000 a month. So how can your family go broke? you know, if they're not to maintain it, if you're not to maintain it right, because basically off the cash flow, as long as somebody there to maintain to take the expenses out so they can maintain upgrade the building, maintain the building, that it's always going to what you call, and the time always go where say they're actually getting before their dad was getting $600 a month for the apartments. Now they're getting like 1,300 a month. So, and not too long from here, they're gonna probably get 15, 1,600 a month for the same apartments. So I think something like that is definitely like, it was like eye opening to me, and I think that's really well, because Howard and his sisters can give it to their kids, and their kids can give it to their kids,
Mhm.
and that $300,000-400,000 a month is, it constantly goes, and it can feed a family, it can send a bunch of kids to college, it can do a lot of things.
Yeah, well said. I agree. That sounds like a pretty good way to summarize the definition of wealth. Um, well, Dom, I really appreciate you coming on the show. Is there anything that you want to plug, social media, websites, things like that?
I'm not like a real like I tried to do the guru thing and I stopped, man. I'm not even gonna lie. I see how I come on the podcast, no haircut. I just be once I heard this saying, right? Once you're able to make money and do what you want, you really don't. I just don't care. Not to say I don't care about that, but I just it's like I am who I am. I'd rather go to the barbershop, but my barber 15, 20 minutes late. I'm not gonna wait. I'm gonna do what I need to do because I need what you call it. So, and it's in Philadelphia. It's kind of hard to tell your barber like, hey, listen, you gotta be on time because I'm really worth money and my time is precious. They gonna think like you're trying to like belittle them. So it just really like, all right, listen, I'd rather just go without getting a haircut until I find a real barber that can come to my house and stuff like that. So it's
Yeah.
just and crazy. My barber is my cousin, so it's even funnier. So the only thing I can plug is my real estate. I mean, my Instagram is real estate Dom. I have a YouTube channel. You can just look up Dom Summers. I put a lot of content out. I put out some content out there. Just a lot of vlog stuff behind the scenes. I'm over there. I'm actually talking to you want to hear me talk to the phone on with sellers. I'm doing that, talking, showing buyers properties, looking at investment properties. Y'all can see some duplex. I got a little bit of everything on there. I'm gonna do more content, but it's really not for like, to be honest, it's really not for to sell it's just sell courses and everything. It's really for more when I try to ask somebody for $100,000 or $200,000 to invest with me. I have a catalog. They can say, look at this, look at this. This is for how long I've been doing it. So you can got it, but a lot of people tell me they found out they get a lot of knowledge from it. So you can go check it out.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I'll put all that in the description of the video so people can check it out and have somewhere easy to access it. I'll put your social media and all that.
That's no problem. I really think, like I said, once again, thanks for having me, man. I see your podcast. I watched a couple of episodes with one of your people, a couple of your guests, and I think you're doing really great. And you got something going on here. You just gotta keep it going and just really start making some more phone calls. I think right now you're only making 5 offers a day. You definitely got to limit. You got to start doing the 15, 16 or at least 15 offers a day, and things to definitely pick up. And then always follow up with them. Follow up is definitely key because somebody like, hey, listen, who's more motivated? I mean, who's more serious? A person you get the house on the market for 3 months, that person that came two different times, or that person that says, hey, I want to buy a house today, or is it gonna be, how many houses I bought it? But hey, you again, Dom? Yep. What's up? I
Yeah.
want to buy it. I'm not playing. Somebody else want to buy it. I'm like, yeah, somebody else want to buy it, but I've been calling on and off for three months. I really like this property. So
Got it. Yeah, I appreciate the kind words, and talking to you is definitely really motivating for me. Every time I do one of these podcasts and see what other people are doing and how well and they're running their business, it definitely puts a little fire under me to bump it up. We'll go from the next five offers to that 10 or 15 number, and all the advice. It helps a lot. So I appreciate your time and coming on the show, man.
that's no problem. Thank you for having me.
All right, buddy. Get wealthy.